Welcome to the Appendix, where we read the primary sources of the past so that the present can be better understood. Today's primary source: Virginia Instructions to the Continental Congress, August 1st, 1774. On May 27th, 81 members of the House of the Burgesses of Virginia had met at the Raleigh Tavern in Williamsburg and recommended a meeting of delegates from all the colonies to a Continental Congress. These members requested their fellow members of the House of Burgesses to sound out their constituents on the questions of a Congress and to meet at Williamsburg August 1st, 1774. At this meeting, the following resolutions were drawn up and delegates chosen to the Congress. The convention further declared that it was lawful to meet the lawless act of General Gage with force, a statement that was looked upon in England as an act of rebellion. Instructions for deputies appointed to meet in General Congress on the part of the colony of Virginia. The unhappy disputes between Great Britain and her American colonies have compelled them to take the same into their most serious consideration, and being deprived of their usual and accustomed mode of making known their grievances, have appointed us, their representatives, to consider what is proper to be done in this dangerous crisis of American affairs. It being our opinion that the united wisdom of North America should be collected in a general congress of the colonies, we have appointed the Honorable Peyton Randolph, Esquire, Richard Henry Lee, George Washington, Patrick Henry, Richard Bland, Benjamin Harrison, and Edmund Pendleton, Esquires, deputy to represent this colony in the said Congress to be held at Philadelphia on the first Monday in September next. And that they be better informed of our sentiments touching the conduct we wish them to observe on this important occasion, we desire that they will express, in the first place, our faith and true allegiance to His Majesty King George III, our lawful and rightful sovereign, and that we are determined with ourselves and fortune to support him in the legal exercise of all his just rights and prerogatives, and however misrepresented, we sincerely approve of our constitutional connection with Great Britain, and wish most ardently a return of that intercourse of affection and commercial connection that formerly united both countries, which can only be effected by a removal of those causes of discontent which have of late unhappily divided us. It cannot admit of a doubt but that British subjects in America are entitled to the same rights and privileges as their fellow subjects possess in Britain, and therefore that the power assumed by the British Parliament to bind America by their statutes in all cases whatsoever is unconstitutional and the source of these unhappy differences. The end of government would be defeated by the British Parliament exercising a power over the lives, the property, and the liberty of the American subjects, who are not, and from their local circumstances cannot, be there represented. Of this nature we consider the several acts of Parliament for raising a revenue in America, for extending their jurisdiction of the courts of admiralty, for seizing American subjects and transporting them to Britain to be tried for crimes committed in America, and the several late oppressive acts respecting the town of Boston and province of the Massachusetts Bay. The original Constitution of the American colonies, possessing their assemblies with the sole right of directing their internal polity, it is absolutely destructive of the ends of their institution that their legislators should be suspended or prevented by hasty dissolution from exercising their legislative powers. Wanting the protection of Britain, we have long acquiesced in their acts of navigation restrictive of our commerce, which we consider as an ample recompense for such protection. But as those acts derive their efficacy from that foundation alone, we have reason to expect that they will be restrained so as to produce the reasonable purpose of Britain without being injurious to us. To obtain a redress of those grievances, without which the people of America can neither be safe, free, nor happy, they are willing to undergo the great inconvenience that will be derived to them from stopping all imports whatsoever from Great Britain after the 1st day of November next, and also to cease exporting any commodity whatsoever to the same place after the 10th day of August 1775. The proclamation issued by General Gage in the government of the province of Massachusetts Bay, declaring it treason for the inhabitants of the province to assemble themselves to consider of their grievances and form associations for their common conduct on the occasion, and requiring the civil magistrates and officers to apprehend all such persons to be tried for their supposed offenses, is the most alarming process that ever appeared in a British government. That if the said General Gage conceives he is empowered to act in this manner as the Commander-in-Chief of His Majesty's forces in America, this odious and illegal proclamation must be considered as a plan and full declaration that this despotic viceroy will be bound by no law, nor regard the constitutional rights of His Majesty's subjects, whenever they interfere with the plan he has formed for oppressing the good people of the Massachusetts Bay, and therefore that the executing or attempting to execute such proclamation will justify resistance and reprisal. Thank you for joining us for our primary source today on the appendix. We will see you in the stacks.